Stanford and Government, the oldest affiliate of the Haas Center for Public Service, celebrated 50 years as a student organization in 2013. On Wednesday, June 19, 2013, over 300 Stanford alumni, students, and affiliated individuals gathered at the National Building Museum in Washington, D.C. to commemorate SIG's momentous 50th anniversary. All were there to honor the great work that SIG has done to increase political awareness at Stanford and connect university students with opportunities in public service. I present to you Stanford and Government's 50th anniversary celebration.
Hi again. My name is Elise Timtim, and this past year I served as the chair of Stanford and Government, and this past weekend I did the Wacky Walk at commencement and joined many of you in the alumni ranks. Back in 1963, when our pioneers launched SIG, Palo Alto felt a lot further from Washington than it does today. For that reason, SIG was a critical gateway for Stanford students to get their start in government. What began with the founders going door to door on the Hill, trying to secure summer fellowships for their fellow students, is now a well-established fellowships program funded by generous endowments and stewarded by both student leaders and faculty mentors. This summer, we are offering 34 paid fellowships in DC, Sacramento, and abroad in cities like Bangkok and Doha. We are also in the second year of our stipends program, which is currently funding 15 students in otherwise unpaid policy internships and reflects our ongoing commitment to making public service a realistic option for all.
Here at Stanford,
My name is Leland Carlson. I was in the SIG class of 1963, the inaugural class.
That academic year, I got her involved with an effort to create a center for public service, open to Stanford students and open to the community who might be asking for some kind of public service assistance.
And when we first opened the program, we didn't know what the reaction would be, but the students started pouring in the doors to get involved and to try to help out. And one of the student groups that we early on discovered was Stanford and Government, which at that time was really not doing too well because it hadn't been given a lot of support and nourishment to the community.
The SIG connection was absolutely critical to the birth of the Haas Center and to the engagement of Stanford students in public service in large numbers.
I was fortunate to become a member of the first group of Stanford and Washington interns in the summer of 1963, and Julia
was fortunate to help start the whole thing in the fall of '62. And a law student, and Susan knows about law student named Jamie Hunter, who had just graduated from Yale, came and said, I just had this great experience as an intern in Washington, and Stanford doesn't have this program, and I've been trying all over the university to get somebody to help me with it, and nobody will help me. Who will help me? I said, well, we will, for the Alumni Association, and I said, we don't have any money, but we can help you. We know alumni, and we know people in Congress, and we know lots of people, and lots of faculty, and we'll have to get it started. So we put together a advisory group, which Susan as a student was
worked for a member of Congress, Bob Eckhart from Texas, in 1975, and had a summer internship and then actually worked for him in the fall as well before returning to Stanford. And all I can say is it was a fantastic experience living in Washington, D.C., working on Capitol Hill, going to all those fun parties, and just learning an awful lot. I would recommend it to any Stanford student. Get out of your comfort zone, get away from California, find out what life is like elsewhere in the country, and certainly find out more about government and how it works, because I think you'll end up coming away with a lot of respect for the process and also for the people who devote their lives to it.
All right, Scott, tell me your SIG connection.
So I chaired Stanford Government during 1984-1985.
Fantastic. And Andy, why don't you give me yours as well?
I chaired Stanford Government from 1989 to 1990, and as a freshman, I helped start the state and local government program.
Awesome. Now, is it hazing that everyone has to get the same haircut? Is that the deal?
That comes later.
Yeah.
Just enjoy the experience. That's definitely my number one goal. Learn a lot and enjoy the experience.
Now, if this sounds familiar, it is because Stanford in government is and has been ahead of the curve. It has been a powerful leader on the vanguard, providing opportunities for students in global policy. As such, SIG is out front of the wave of exciting initiatives in experiential learning now underway at Stanford. What defined the program of Stanford in government some 50 years ago makes this program all the more vital now as it scripts its next 50 years.
So what we try to do is connect Stanford students with opportunities in public policy at a state, at a national, and an international level. And it's something we're continually expanding into. Now we're launching a stipends program so that students from all backgrounds can access opportunities in government and in public policy.
The stipend program is really quite the revolution because we have 38, 39 endowed fellowships. These are fellowships that Stanford and government places themselves. They find a high-quality internship, and then students compete to grab it. But that tends to go to juniors and seniors who have a lot of experience and they compete well for the existing fellowships. The stipend program, 5 years ago, I wrote to one of Meredith's predecessors and said, we're going to celebrate the 50th. We had the idea of this event 5 years ago, and the idea was to have a big ask, a big new idea for Stanford and government, and we developed over about 85 drafts what is now the stipend program. And
I think one of the biggest recommendations I would have for Stanford students is to use their resources that are available to them at Stanford to the fullest, especially the advisors and the faculty, the staff. From a Stanford and government perspective, that's very much Haas staff, Haas faculty, the faculty mentors that mentor the fellowships.
And so I leave you with this point. The opportunities that we have in public service are about an obligation that we have to each other, but an obligation that we have to our children, to the next generation, to the world that we create that can be sustained, and where in the future, those that come after us might be able to do better. For that, I have a great debt to Stanford and government and the opportunities that it opened, and it is a great opportunity and a thrill to be here with you tonight.
I want to thank each of you for all that you do to support public service and Stanford University. I hope you will stay and continue to meet our remarkable students who are inspired by the roles you play in public service and by your many generous gifts. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you right back here in 50 years. Thank you.
So we just finished the 50th anniversary event in Washington, D.C. It's June 19th, 2013. And this was an incredible night of people from all 5 decades of Stanford and government who had been impacted by their public policy experiences coming forth to say this is an important part of an undergraduate education at Stanford.
So, please join me. I was going to bring a glass up here. I don't have one. In lifting a glass to Stanford and government and toasting all that it represents at Stanford and in the world. Cheers.